Noguera will then speak about finding common ground and coming to consensus. Then we will hold an online discussion to initially discuss potential content for the common position and take suggestions for the process of the consultation over the rest of the year. I'm really excited to say that we've had over 140 registrations for this meeting today, predominantly from civil society representatives from the Asia Pacific region and also other interested civil society members, some representatives of regional government delegations and some representatives from UN agencies and offices. I'd like to welcome everybody to this initial meeting, but just to note right from the outset that this and future meetings led by the working group are focused on fostering collaboration amongst and receiving input from civil society members working in the Asia Pacific region and strengthening engagement of those members in UNODC meetings and sessions. So we're going to do our best today to lead this initial discussion, but just noting that high number of registrations, we're running this meeting as a webinar rather than a meeting, so that audience members, therefore audience members' microphones will not unfortunately be able to be enabled. We are going to trial an online discussion platform and which is called Slido, and utilize the chat function on Teams, and also send out a follow-up form to take on your initial suggestions on the content and process of the regional collaboration for this project. So please don't worry if you don't have the opportunity to contribute today. There will definitely be other opportunities. So just before we begin, I just want to note that this meeting is being recorded and will be published on the VNGOC website. You can submit your questions anytime by writing in the chat box and taking part in the Slido activities if you can. So we're just going to trial that Slido platform now. As I said, don't worry if you can't make it work, you will get to contribute in other ways. So we've just started with an introduction question. If you do have a smartphone or you can access another page from your web browser, please open either of those things up. On your phone, you can use your camera to open the QR code, so that black and white box in the top left-hand corner of the slide, and it will take you to the correct Slido platform. And then if you're on a computer, you can go to slido.com, that web address, and type in the code 24092 to access the platform. So once you've accessed the platform, please write your name, organisation, and the city or country you're joining us from today to introduce yourself to the group. It might take a couple of minutes just to get it going, but that's why I thought we'd do just an introduction question. I'd also just like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians on the land on which I'm hosting this meeting from this afternoon. I'd like to pay my respects to any First Nations elders past, present and emerging who might be joining us today, and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which you are all joining us from today. So we might just wait. Oh, here we go. Fantastic. Somebody from Sana in Singapore. Here we go. Fantastic. So if you can just introduce yourself. Sweden, Perth, Australia, Malaysia, Bangkok. Fantastic. So we'll also be able to access these polls as well at the end, so we can take on your feedback afterwards as well, as it is popping up quite quickly. So I'll just take a couple of minutes. So if anyone's trying to access the platform, they can do it. It's fantastic. We've got India, Vietnam.
Japan.
Another Singapore. And you can write in the chat as well. I can't see the chat at the moment, but Sarah will be helping with that moderation as well. So we are going to do our best to ensure people can participate, but we're so happy to see so many sign-ups. Unfortunately, we weren't able to ensure we could get microphones on for everybody. We've got members from Pakistan as well. Welcome, everybody. So thank you. I might just move on. I think you can keep contributing as we go ahead. And I know Sarah has access to the Slido if there's something I miss as I keep going through the slides. But thank you everybody for jumping onto that platform and using it to help us with the discussion today. So I'm just going to run through a bit of background for the VNGOC, as I am aware that a lot of the signups we actually had for this meeting weren't from current VNGOC members, which is fantastic because we'd love to invite anybody from civil society to join. So for a little bit of background, the VNGOC provides a key link between NGOs and the Vienna-based agencies involved in setting international drug policy. So that's the UN Commission on Narcotic Drugs, the International Narcotics Control Board, and the UNODC. The VNGOC actively supports the activities of NGOs and promotes contacts and collaboration with the relevant international agencies, offices, and fora. We promote activities such as this that lead to enhanced communication, cooperation, and scientific, cultural, and social exchanges between NGOs, UN agencies, and member states. And we also aim to ensure balanced representation by facilitating the engagement of NGOs reflecting the broadest possible range of perspectives and groups involved, including affected populations. Unfortunately, due to the time difference today, our chair, Jamie Bridge, couldn't join us this morning. It's very early in the morning for him, but he has just sent through a short message for me to read out to welcome you all to the meeting. So he just said, "Dear VNGOC members and allies from across Asia Pacific, I'm very sorry that I cannot join you for the VNGOC Asia Pacific ad hoc working group meeting due to the time zones, but thank you all so much for your engagement and support in this important process. As you will have seen, the VNGOC was able to work with African civil society partners last year and release a common position for the region, and I think it's a great idea to do the same for Asian civil society as well. As this is the case throughout the VNGOC membership, there will always be more that unites us than divides us. Ultimately, we are all working hard to protect and ensure the health and rights of people, to ensure that harms are minimized, and to promote the voices of civil society. There is a great power when civil society comes together, and I look forward to hearing about your meeting and helping promote and disseminate the results in Vienna as well. I hope your discussions today go well, and to let you know that you have the full support of the VNGOC board." So thank you to Jamie for that message. Okay, so just quickly to run through the VNGOC membership, we currently have 287 member organisations from 78 countries across the world. There are currently 58 member organisations from Asia, but I'd just like to note that the VNGOC currently has no member organisations from Oceania outside of Australia and New Zealand. And I just wanted to note in particular that we're really happy to welcome the people who registered from Pacific Island nations to join this meeting, and invite you and others that aren't already members of the VNGOC to join us. To do that, I'm just going to run through quickly how you can become a member of the VNGOC. So as I said, anybody from civil society who would like to join can do so. So in order to become a member, you just need to fill out the application form that's available on our website, that we can also put this link in the chat as well. We do hold board meetings to review the recent member applications. We hold these meetings roughly once every 2 months, but I did want to just note in this meeting that we are having a board meeting coming up soon. So if you did want to apply to be a member of the VNGOC before the upcoming CND session in April, if you can apply as soon as possible, but by the 8th of March, then we will have time to review that application. We do sometimes find, though, that member applications haven't always completed the whole form. So to ensure we can do our best to approve your membership application before CND, please complete every single question on the form. Otherwise, wonderful Sarah will email you to follow up with questions, but we might not have time to review it before the CND session if we have to go back and forth a bit. So just for some quick criteria on member applications, your organisation does need to work in the field of narcotic drugs. If your work is broader, please make sure you highlight your drug-related activities in the application form. You do need to be registered with UNDESA, of which you'll find the link to do that on our website as well. So please register with UNDESA before you apply for the VNGOC membership. And I just want to particularly note that this does not mean you need full ECOSOC status. That is a much bigger application that you can fill out in the future. You just need to make sure that your organisation is registered on that database. And then once you're admitted, you'll need to pay your annual membership fee. So only member organisations who regularly pay the annual memberships fees are considered to be in good standing, and then are able to participate in the annual General Assembly that will occur at the CND session each year. We do have 4 categories for membership, one of which is if your total revenue of your organisation is under €10,000 per year, there won't be a fee, but you will have to fill out a membership commitment form. And then we have 3 other categories just by your total annual revenue. You can find a lot more information about this on our website, and also contact us if you would like to do that. And I'd also just like to note that all members are welcome to pay more than that minimum fee if they would like to support the work of the committee further. So for just as this isn't the main purpose of the meeting today, but we thought that you might be interested in upcoming events that are coming up before this CND in April. There are a number of online events that are being run by the VNGOC, including one on, sorry, could we just mute microphones if you haven't already? There's one on Thursday. The UNODC is organising an online event to present its recently released UNODC strategy for the next 4 years to civil society. So that's on Thursday this week. And then the VNGOC, in collaboration with the UNODC Civil Society Unit, are organising webinars in March that will be available to civil society. One will be focused on the international standards on prevention, and one will be focused on international standards on treatment, and also the standards on the treatment of drug use disorders and the technical guide on HIV prevention, treatment and care for people who inject drugs. So that will incorporate harm reduction as well. These meetings will be interpreted into French and Russian as well as English, and they will be occurring in March this year. And then as this is going to be a very interesting year for CND, and the majority of the session will be held online, we are hosting an informal VNGOC membership meeting on the 18th of March, where we will hope to answer any of the questions you have on civil society engagement in that session, where the vast majority of participants, I believe, will be attending online. And we can also update you on various VNGOC and civil society meetings and activities. So the CND will be starting on the 12th of April this year. It's a little bit later than usual, and we've done our best as the VNGOC to make sure most of our events that we hold every year will be available online. So you may be familiar with the informal dialogues that we usually hold with the UNODC Executive Director, the CND Chair, the INCB President, and the World Health Organization. They will be going on as normal, just online, so you will be able to submit those questions to those representatives prior to the session and then engage in the session. We will be holding the VNGOC AGM. It will take place on Thursday, the 8th of March, so it will start a little bit before CND, and we'll have an online staggered process for how you can vote for in the VNGOC board elections. And then we'll all come together back on the next Thursday, the 15th of April, to close that meeting. There's more information about that event and how it will work. It's been sent out by email to VNGOC members, but we will make it available to anyone who's interested. We are hosting 2 VNGOC side events this year. One is a joint event with the UNODC Civil Society Unit on civil society responses to the COVID-19 pandemic. And we also will be hosting one to showcase the work towards the Asia Pacific Common Position. And we will be endeavouring to host other NGO orientation meetings online as well. And the final plug from me is the wonderful Ngo Marketplace that was launched or relaunched last year. For those that don't know or aren't aware of the Ngo Marketplace, it's a joint project by the UNODC and the VNGOC, and was developed with funding from Russia. The Marketplace is an interactive online platform for drug policy NGOs that allows NGOs to share their work, events, news, and to network with other NGOs from all over the world, but we could also network between the Asia Pacific region in particular as well. For member states and UN agencies, it's also a useful database when it comes to work being done regarding drug policy. So that's it from me. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Mr. Rathore, to give you a bit more information about the Asia Pacific Working Group. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me, Penny?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Penny, for wonderful presentation about VNGOC, how it's working, how the NGOs can become the members of the committee, and other updates about the events which is coming shortly. So at first, I would like to share the overview and updates about the VNGOC Asia Pacific Working Group. So I also thanks the members of the working group, especially Ms. Penny, Augusto, Mr. Das, Mr. Zulfikar, uh, for great representation from the Asia Pacific region. So first of all, I would like to share how about the objective of the VNGOC Asia Pacific Working Group. So, firstly, the purpose of this working group is to strengthen and participation as well as the engagement between the VNGOC members from Asia. So during the consultation, the members think that not the representation from the different region. So this working group established after that. So firstly, I shared the objective of this working group. Promote and expand the VNGOC membership from the region to ensure a more geographical representative NGO committee. So another objective of this working group is guide the VNGOC board and how to better engage the members from Asia Pacific region in the working of the NGO committee. One of the another objective of the working group is identify and map the regional opportunities for NGO engagement, capacity building, and communication to demystify the international drug debates. The working group also works to create and advise an effective communication for members and other NGO partners in the Asia Pacific region. And also working to mobilize greater engagement in terms of quality and quantity from the Asia Pacific region in VNGOC calls for speakers. Mostly the VNGOC call for the different side events of CND and the other events, and the speakers selected from the different regions. So that is one of the also one of the objective of this working group, how we can represent our region, that is the Asia Pacific region. So now I also like to share with the working group review how its working group form and how it's working and what we had did so far. In 2019, VNGOC, during the VNGOC consultation, it was highlighted that the need for the better regional representation and participation in the VNGOC. It is also noted that the no membership from the Polynesia and Melanesia. So that's why this working group of VNGOC Asia Pacific working group formed on the need basis from the outcome from the a consultation in 2019. In 2020, the Vienna NGO committee has opened a call among its members, and after responses from the member of VNGOC from the Asia Pacific region, the VNGOC formed a ad hoc working group in year 2020. After that, the formation of the ad hoc working group, the working group meet monthly basis and discuss the various points and also share with the Vienna NGO board. And in 2020, the working group of Vienna NGO committee, especially Asia Pacific region, come to the consultation. That is a consultation for an Asia Pacific common position on drug, which the first consultation we are hosting today. And I think this one is a great achievement of this working group, that we are hosting a first consultation on Asia Pacific common position on drugs. So now today this consultation on common position on drugs moderate by the working group of Asia Pacific region. Now we a little bit talk about the towards an Asia Pacific common position. To incorporate the perspective and guide the work of wide range of NGOs from across Asia Pacific and help shape and guide civil society and governmental responses over the coming years. So today consultation, the Asia Pacific common position. Now I would like to request my friend and member of this Asia Pacific working group, Mr. Augusto, to share some information about the Asia Pacific common position.
Sorry, Augusto, we can't hear you.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
Ken? Okay.
perfect. Now we got
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Thank
now
you.
we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sana. Thank you, Penny. Also, thank all my colleagues from the working group for the excellent working that will this presentation. Regarding then the Asia Pacific common position, later on I'll speak about the consensus. So, as Ms. Sana explained, in February 2021 was the kickoff meeting to discuss the common position, and I was talking about the other one. Let's jump out to. Okay, so then in April we're going to have a side event led by the VNGOC to promote the discussion around an Asia Pacific common position. Actually, the presentation, our side event, it will be on the 14th of April, Wednesday, Vienna time, 9 o'clock in the morning until 9:50. And the title to be NGOs from Asia Unite to Create a Consensus and a call for attention to the challenge in Asia regarding drug matters. So regarding this situation, later on, the VNGOC will make a call for the speakers. But anyway, people are, we are very happy to receive suggestions regarding the topics that we could express in the side event. And then to those ones that we today they cannot express their suggestions and or cannot discuss, there's no problem about that. Between from now on until October 2021, we're going to have several meetings. Also several meetings, consultations that we all can share ideas and suggestions regarding the consensus. So the objective is to be in Vienna in 2022. We can have a presentation of the Asia Pacific Common Position as an NGO paper led by the civil society of the Asia and the Pacific. So regarding the consensus, okay, Penny, you can, all right. For that, regarding the geographic balance, I think we follow the WHO definition, and we divide in East and Southeast Asia. So we have Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, China, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Indonesia, Japan, Laos, Malaysia, Mongolia, Myanmar, Philippines, Republic of Korea, Singapore, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Vietnam, Hong Kong, China, Macau, China, Taiwan, Province of China, and then South Asia, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. Southwest Asia, Afghanistan, Iran, Islamic Republic of and Pakistan. Central Asia and Transcaucasia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. And Polynesia, Cook Islands, New Samoa, Tonga, Tuvalu, French Polynesia, Tuvalu, and Wallis and Futuna Islands. Melanesia, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, and New Caledonia, and Micronesia, Kiribati, Marshall Islands, Micronesia, Nauru, Palau, Guam, and North Mariana Islands. So this is how we, the divisions, but anyway, we're open to suggestions. Well, regarding the consensus, I know this it's a challenge, but I think with the call that we have, we managed until now 66 people attending the meeting. I think this is a very good feeling that we can achieve a consensus in next year. So I think it's very important we understand what is the consensus and what is important we talk about when we want to build this consensus. So I think we need to show and to think in terms of the unification of Asia as a whole and not individually or as our NGO's interests. So it's important we don't follow what we think it will be best. To those ones also think that only this direction is the important one. I think we should not think about that, and we think as a whole and understand that drug policies, everything matters and everything is important to achieve our objectives. We need to be pragmatic and realistic. And we need, again, to put aside our personal or NGO's interests and focus in the needs of the region. So there's a lot of needs in the region. I'm working in Asia for many years, and also I listen a lot of needs that we either the training or treatment, quality treatment, prevention. There's a lot of needs that I think we can in the region we can focus and advocate for that. In the last consultation, as I was told already, in 2019, members from Asia highlighted the need for a better regional representation and participation. Therefore, now it's I think it's our chance to work together, to be united, to identify our needs in Asia, but also, and very important, to also show of what good, with the good results has been done in Asia. Normally, we focus a lot in the negative aspects that happen in Asia. But at the same time, we can see there are a lot of good things happening in Asia, good results, good quality treatment, good results, for instance, in needle syringe programs, good results in prevention as well. And these need to be advocated so other member states, they know what's happening in the other member states, and we all can work together to improve and help each other. To achieve the consensus, we had sent also to each one of you by email attached the African Civil Society Common Position on drugs, the United Nations System Common Position supporting the implementation of the International Drug Control Policy, and the Ministerial Declaration. We suggest all of us to read and use these documents to generate thoughts and suggestions for the Asian consensus. Consensus is not synonymous with unanimity. So, however, during the process, we should try to generate as much agreement as possible, but we also suggest we also will provide an option for those who do not support a proposal to stand aside. Rather than be blocked, nevertheless, we are open to suggestions for this matter so we all can achieve a consensus as much as possible and to show that we are working together. Also, it's important that this consensus be entitled A Voice of the Civil Society of Asia. But we believe things only can change and improve in our own home if we can work together. And it's important to work together with the governments, with the UN agencies, in cooperation, identify all the needs and also the success situations and everything that need to be changed or to improve, listen to each other. I think it will be very important to listen each other, we NGOs and also the UN agencies or governments to listen to each other so we can build a consensus. It's important this consensus be an important tool for the region and not just a piece of paper. I think that is very important, that this tool, this consensus be something that the governments and civil society can look into when they need to discuss the drug policy matters and not just a piece of paper. So is this going to take us a lot of energy during 1 year? I think we're going to be working in this for during 1 year, and I think we need to make the most useful of this consensus as possible. The working group, it's very happy. We are very happy to see so many NGOs from Asia that coming together at the first call. So I think if we manage that today, with so many participants attending this meeting, currently 67. So if we manage that, I think we Asia, we can also show that we can build this consensus. And I think is that I'm not Asian, as you can see by my look, but I'm working for many years in Asia. I'm considering myself Asian, and my heart is in Asian. So I think all of us, we should be working together to build this consensus and to improve improve all drug policy matters in the region, but also to show what good is being done over here. And I think is so one of the important things is now is also the next steps, and I think the next steps I already said it's the side event that's going to happen in April that we are hosting, and we're going to make a calls for speakers soon. But also it's important that all of the NGOs are attending today this meeting, that they are not members of the VNGOC. I think it will also be very important to request to be member, to fill the forms to be a member of the VNGOC, so your participation and your voice can be more listened at the UN system, and also the VNGOC can transmit your suggestions, your opinions, your worries at the right places. So we're going to have basically 1 year to discuss, and we are open to suggestions and opinions. And we have worked in some key points that we just put in the paper, but and I think all these key points they are of course up to the suggestions, up to discussion, and also we are calling you for you also can write in the Slido your opinions and suggestions for us we can build this common position. Penny.
Thank you very much, Augusto and Sana, for sharing with us those slides and where we're at with the working group, and also how we could come to consensus within the region. I think Augusto's brought up some really, really important points about really highlighting the achievements of the region and making sure that the rest of the world is aware of all the wonderful work that is occurring by NGOs in Asia Pacific. So we will just open up, we will try this activity. Please feel free to give us feedback if you don't think it's very good. But this is the first time we have used Slido in these types of sessions. We're really happy to take your feedback on that. And then, so we're going to have 2 questions. The first one will be on various points you think might be able to make up the content of a potential common position for the region. And then the second point is about the process to develop that consensus document or common position. So if we can, I'll open up the first one and I'll give everyone a couple of minutes. Maybe Mr. Rathore and Augusto, if you would like to get started on some of your thoughts.
Okay, so one of the facts I think it will be important. It's improve the quality treatment in the region. So often we have many issues regarding situations happening in the treatment centers and lack of direction and quality. So I think it will be very important. There's improve of quality treatment in the region, and some of the points that's important to also to focus on the evidence-based on prevention, treatment, and also harm reduction. For us, there's signs of good work being done in Asia regarding those. I think also the Asia NGO should have a more participation at the CND, UNODC, and to strengthen our connections with the member states, to put our position. So this is some of the thoughts that we have, but and we would like to have your suggestions so we can elaborate. We can elaborate all of them, and we can start to build the common position.
So we just have one suggestion so far on treatment and making sure that treatment's recognised in the common position.
For instance, I can say promotion of recovery. No, I lost.
So in exchanging expertise between NGOs within the region, I think that's a really important point in terms of NGOs collaborating and really supporting the work of others in the region and bringing everybody up together. Addressing over-incarceration as well has come up. Also increasing access to opioids as well. Evidence-based practice. Reducing harm. These are really great suggestions so far. We've also got comments in the chat as well. Training and certification. Sustainability of harm reduction programs. A suggestion from the Asia Pacific Hospice Palliative Care Network, taking a good balance between harm reduction and optimal access to opioids for pain and palliative care is important, given the fact that a number of people with serious health-related suffering in Asia Pacific suffer the lack of access to opioids for symptom palliation. We will include statements on how to ensure a balance and ensure such a balance in sufficient access to opioids. Reducing stigma, strategies for prevention and harm reduction, no compulsory treatment, strengthening regional cooperation.
I think we also need to focus on the priority population, especially women, adolescents, children.
Augusto, did you want to note, we had a discussion earlier about potentially coming to consensus and being aware that there's a lot of different perspectives in the region and that there might be options for sub-statements and
Yes, I think, like I said in the beginning, it will be very important we achieve as maximum as we can a consensus on all these topics that we're gonna build. But I might understand sometimes that maybe there are some NGOs, they are not maybe they have some difficulty to agree in some issues. I think we can work on the language as maximum as possible. But if that is not possible, I think we don't want to block this block, even if we go for the majority wins. But I think it will be important that the position of those NGOs that they don't totally agree, they can be stand aside, so they can have their note that they are not they allow the consensus to pass, but they are they don't vote, or they have concerns regarding that consensus or that note. So I think this is one of the models that I saw, but also there's other options. Also, like declare reservations or objects. But I think the main objective is for us is to achieve as to a global consensus in general. So I know there are different points. There are NGOs, they support much more harm reduction. There are other ones that support tolerance. So all of us have different views. But I think we can be able to understand that we all can, let's say, we need to work together as a whole, and understand that prevention is very important in the part of the process. Treatment also is very important, and also it's very important the harm reduction in the other part of all this process. So we all can cohabit together, and to make to achieve the consensus and to make Asia a better, improve the drug policies on each region. We understand that there's volunteer treatment, there's drug compulsory treatment also in the region. So there's a lot of situations that we might disagree each other, but once again, I know it's a challenge, a very challenge. But if we think as a human, as in the human sense, that, and the objective is mainly it's to recover and the people, and so I think we can understand that there are many options and alternatives. So yeah, I don't want to push to any side. I think we just need to, all of us, work together and see this as an opportunity to be together and to express our opinions and suggestions. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think there's some really good suggestions coming through both the Slat and the chat and the Slido platform. So just to remind everybody, we will be recording all of this and noting it down, and then once we've finished this meeting, we've also drawn up a form to give more, more detailed feedback, in which we'd love everybody who's attended today and anyone who's registered to complete that form, and then we can be in touch with the group again to talk about next steps once we get to the next slide, where we talk about how we can ensure we have a good process for this, for coming to consensus together. There's a really broad range of suggestions in here. It's fantastic to see all of the different avenues of work that has been so successful across Asia Pacific. I think there's also some good language we can use around enhance and really find common ground on, advocating for participatory roles for civil society in UN sessions and meetings, and also potentially strengthening data collection from the region as well. Evidence-based practices coming up a couple of times. Mr. Rathore, did you want to share?
Yes, thank you very much, Penny. As you and Augusto mentioned, these are some suggestions which comes from the civil society organization. We are not pushing any suggestion that we are in the favor of prevention or the harm reduction. So anyone can suggest anything. If personally from my organization, we are working for the prevention, rehabilitation and recovery. So these are some suggestions from the different civil society organization. And as you mentioned that after this meeting, we can come to the consensus, then we can share in the next consultation which the outcome come from this consultation. And I would also like to take the opportunity and also thanks Dr. Manzoorul Haq, advisor UNODC Pakistan, and Mr. Muhammad Ayub, senior advisor Colombo Plan. They both have with us and also part of this consultation, and hopefully the people also supporting us to come to the consensus and also work with us to reach the consensus and observe these things what civil society of the Asia working together. And I think the number of suggestions comes in this consultation, and hopefully in next consultation we move forward and come to this to the common position.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I'd also just like to pick up a point that Esbjørn's just made in the chat. I think it's, I completely agree that it's so great to see a discussion with all these different perspectives and thematic areas coming together. And I think it's also important to start talking about the fact that a lot of the VNGOC members actually do work across a number of fields. So we can really kind of use that as a strengthening point in terms of collaboration throughout the region as well. How do you think we're going, my working group colleagues? Should we move on to the next question, or do you think we should have a couple more minutes on this one?
I think there's one point that I'd like just to speak that was mentioned in the Slido, that maybe this can be an opportunity also to pressure the UNODC to release a regional specific strategy for Asia, as Gloria was mentioning in the chat. They did that for Africa. Maybe through this consultation we can also suggest to them to do the same for Asia.
Yes,
I think there will be. Oh, sorry. Go.
I also have seen this suggestion in the chat box, and we are lucky today the one of the representative of UNODC also with us, and hopefully he will take the note and they work with their colleagues, and hopefully they also work with the VNGOC working group and come with the consensus paper or update from the UNODC as well.
Yeah, I agree as well. And I think I'm just so excited to see everything popping up on the Slido, because I think not only can we, try and come together with a common position for the region, that I think we're opening a lot of opportunities to collaborate together and for future projects of the working group. So it's just very exciting to see.
Yes, of course, this one is our first initiative which the working group taken, and today I think we have a great achievement that the around 70 organizations from the Asia participating in this consultation.
So I think we might thank everybody for contributing to that main question, and just reiterate that you will have numerous opportunities to share your perspectives and thoughts through following this meeting and then throughout the year. But I think this is a really fantastic start. We will just move on to the next question, which is around the processes around trying to bring this common position together, and we're really open to any thoughts on how you think we or would like to suggest that we can do that. So I have now just opened the next question. I think it would probably have popped up on your browser or your phone that the question has changed. Keep suggestions coming through the chat as well, and especially through those forms, because we can bring them all together through there. But Augusto or Sana, would you like to share your thoughts on suggestions for how we can work together through the next year as we work towards trying to present the common position as an NGO paper for CND 65 next year?
Okay. Well, as we spoke after this meeting, a form it will be sent to all the participants, and including those ones that did not participate, but they also are from Asia, and where the people can continue to sharing their suggestions and thoughts, and also giving suggestions how we can develop this common position, how we can make how we should make the meetings or the consultations or engage each other, so we can achieve the consensus, and also to avoid the documents to go back and forwards. So I think we need to build a timeline for the consensus to be concluded as much as possible. I think maybe until end of this year, if possible, so we can, during the next year, between January and March, we can focus in the speakers to present the consensus, or engage also some member states to support us in this at the side event, speaking. I mean, presenting the consensus. Yeah, but I think by now is that we were receiving a lot of suggestions already. So maybe we'll need to check which one is more possible. Sana, Penny.
Oh, thank you, August, for your suggestion. I think we also suggesting the more consultation in coming years after the CND side event, and in the end of year, I also want to suggest if we have a physical, if the environment allow us the physical or in-person consultation in the end of this year, before the next CND, that it will be great that the Asian civil society organization come together and finalize the common position paper on drugs. It will be, I think, great if we have the opportunity to sit together and finalize this common paper in end of this year.
I think they're really great suggestions. I also just wanted to point out, I mean, I think we all live in hope that we can start traveling and meet face-to-face for meetings again as soon as possible. But if there are, key regional meetings coming up over the next few years that people might already be traveling to post-COVID restrictions, then please suggest, where opportunities, whether they're virtual or face-to-face in the future, that potentially members of the working group could come together, or members of this group could come together to work together and focus on the priorities that come about of the common position.
Maybe we can, after the side event, maybe we can set up another meeting to express and to share how it was the side event, and at that time maybe we already have all these suggestions and opinions that they are coming out now, and we can start to build some the most important suggestions, so the most the ones that people vote indicate more, so we can start to have at least some seats to start to work together.
I also just wanted to point out that within the form that we're sending out, that Sarah has shared a couple of times in the chat already, which you can already start working on if you'd like to right now. If you are a VNGOC member, there will be a drop-down option for if you are interested in joining the regional working group, if you would like to join, and then we can continue discussions from there, depending how much interest we get and whether or not we could potentially break into subgroups for subregions or whatever the opportunities might be. And that's just another incentive to sign up to the VNGOC, so you could take part in that opportunity as well.
I think it's a good suggestion, Penny. I also suggest that if for the upcoming CND, so where we also discuss the common position paper, we can also invite the different speaker from the Asian region to participate in the side event from the different sub-regions of the Asia Pacific region. Then they have the more opportunity to participate in and suggest something.
Absolutely. So there's some really, really great suggestions coming through the Slido already about opportunities to engage. So I think we're going to have a very interesting meeting, the next meeting of the working group, to start going through those opportunities and seeing what we can do to bring this broader group together and all the thoughts and suggestions together. Thematic subgroups as well. Research involving student groups, sharing the draft, tagging along at the, I'm assuming that's the Asia, is that a APHC, maybe the palliative care potential meeting or conference, holding interactive workshops. So please feel free to give us as much detail in these forms and from feedback from today's meeting as to any ideas you might have that pop up. I think we can keep the form open for a little while. That's something that I think we could probably just keep the form coming through as people think of more suggestions potentially, and then we can be in touch with this broader group of people who have registered for this meeting to follow up for next steps prior to the side event that we've got planned for CND this year. Come up with a 5-year roadmap. I think that's a really good suggestion as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just picking up on a conversation in the chat. If anyone has raised their hand to try and speak, if you can please put your suggestion into the chat, because unfortunately we won't be able to open the microphones out to such a large group.
And there always the opportunity to later on to send your suggestions. So I think it's really, we are having a lot of suggestions, and that we need to digest all these suggestions. the working group to start to build the next step. Of course, I think it's very important, like as I speak in the consensus, many will be able to be in the common position, and some maybe will not be able to be in the common position. So I think the more important to all of us understand and work to develop a good common position and for the region, and to understand that a consensus like that, things will be accepted, things will not be accepted, and but all of us, we're going to make a lot of effort to be able to put everything on the paper.
So I might just move on to the next slide, which we can just, I think, prepare to close the meeting and answer any questions. If you wanted to ask any questions in the chat, perhaps around anything that's been brought up in this meeting, we can hold on for a little bit longer and try and answer any questions. In terms of some of the things I mentioned around the lead up to CND this year, please attend that VNGOC informal meeting on the 18th of March, because that's where we will be able to share a lot more information about civil society engagement at the session this year and what that might look like. It will be a very interesting year, I think, this year for CND.
And don't forget that it will be very important that those ones are not members of the VNGOC. Try your best to be member of the VNGOC so your voice can be listened, your suggestions can be given out, and we can see that there's a lack of participation of members of Asia at the CND and also at the VNGOC level. So as much members we can have, much better to be our voice be listened in Asia.
Yeah. And if you would like to apply, please apply before that 8th of March deadline, if possible, with a complete form. And the board will do our best to approve as many applications as we can.
Yes, Penny, this is, I think, the great opportunity for the non-members. They can apply for the membership before the 8th March, and hopefully the board will consider this their application, and hopefully they approve their application, and they can be part of the VNGO committee and participate in the different events of the VNGO committee. The number of our friends which are attending this consultation, if they are not member, they can fill the form of membership of VNGO committee and join the committee as the member. And as our friend Augusto shared that we have not much representation from the Asia region, and that's why our working group working together to enhance the membership of the civil society organization and NGOs from the Asia, and so that the Asian voice also heard in the committee as well as the CND and other events of the UNODC CND.
And also don't forget to share the good things that you're that have been doing on your region, not specifically about each one of your organization, but mainly in the whole in your region, what the good results that have been done. I think that is very important to promote and to share among all in the region. So because actually we are tired to listen to always negative vibes about the region, but also it's important to start to focus in what is positive and to share what is positive. So I think this is very important to show in the region that always been good work being done.
So thank you again, Sarah, for sharing that form one more time. I've seen it pop up multiple times throughout the session. I really want to thank everybody for attending today. Again, we do wish we could have had a more verbal conversation, but we just felt it would be too difficult with such a big group. We do want to hear from everybody in any capacity you can throughout the year in terms of building this common position and advising the working group to strengthen collaboration of NGOs and the UN system from Asia Pacific in the field of drugs. If you, hopefully, I did see a suggestion pop up on the Slido for focus groups, so potentially we could hold meetings with less people focused on certain suggestions, but we will be in touch, and we'll also, I think we can share with the group all of the suggestions that have come through this meeting as well. This meeting will be available online. If you'd like to pick up on anything that has been discussed today. Was there anything else that we wanted to share?
No, just I think it's just a big thank you to all that came to attend this meeting. I think it's not many webinars since the COVID-19 managed to have so many people like we managed
Not
today.
since the beginning. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that this means that the people care. The people they want to do something for Asia. They are really care about their jobs, their work, and the drug policy matters. Drug policy in Asia. So we'd like to say thank you very much for attending this meeting, and I hope when we launch out the next meeting, we also have a lot of participation, and hope next time we can already have a more, like Penny was saying, more verbal conversation to achieve what we want. But in the meantime, thank you very much. And I was very nervous actually, and I think all of us we are, but I can see that we are all together to build something for Asia. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and we look forward to hearing from you throughout this process. It's really exciting that we've gotten this started today. Thank you, everybody.
Next meeting, when, ma'am?
Oh, yep.
Our next meeting?
The next meeting, I think we can follow up with after the call. We can follow up by email to work out the details of the next meeting.
Yeah.
In the end, Penny, I would also like to thank all our colleagues from the Asia. I have seen the different friends from the different countries, from Bangladesh, Mr. Iqbal, Mr. Adib from Maldives, Pemdem from Malaysia, UNODC, Colombo Plan, Pakistani friends, and other people. I would like thanks to all our participants which participated very enthusiastically and put their suggestion for the common position on drugs, and hopefully we will work together for the common position on drugs in future as well.